This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, hi there, welcome to the show. Ray DeLessio flying solo with you this week as Kenny continues to enjoy some time off. This program, of course, though, always looking out for those unique stories that cater to the ag community. And bingo, we found one. Straight ahead, he is one of the lucky ones, the victim of a farming accident, who fortunately is still here to tell his story. Thomas Strickland opens up about how the accident not only gave him a new lease on life, but also changed his career path. Various reports would indicate the waters are awfully murky when it comes to WOTUS and the EPA. An official from American Farm Bureau weighs in on the subject and explains why you may not like what you hear if you attended one of those many roundtables surrounding the rule. And then later, wait until you hear the reaction this couple got when they told their families they were planning to start a farm. Let's just say the news wasn't well received, but they stuck to their guns, and now the food they produce help other families in need. These stories and so much more start right now on the Farm Monitor. For Thomas Strickland and his wife Tara, each and every day is spent taking time to smell the flowers, and I mean that literally. Unfortunately, farming accidents and fatalities are a part of agriculture, and last year Thomas came extremely close to being one of those statistics. However, his accident enabled Tom to sit back and reflect on the more important things in life, mainly his two daughters, Trinity and Summer, something that would help them get involved, maybe even someday carry on the family legacy. Long before the interstate, the traffic jams, the congestion, Henry County and the surrounding areas now occupied by warehouses look like this. Farmland for as far as the eyes could see. For the Stricklands, it was a little slice of heaven. The perfect place to begin what was and is still to this day the family business.
My family's been, like you say, in the county since the 1700s, late 1700s, and we've been farming in the county ever since. We've had cows over the years, do a lot of small grain, wheat, soybeans. It's gotten difficult. I hate seeing the county grow like it is, but how you gonna stop it? Like I say, my family being on this place so long, I don't plan to go anywhere.
We first met Tom back in 2013 during Georgia Farm Bureau's annual Young Farmers and Ranchers trip to Washington, D.C. And boy, was he green. It was Tom's first trip on a plane, first time visiting our nation's capital, first time for a lot of things. And we documented his journey every step of the way. Well, since that trip, much has happened in Tom's life. For one, he is older and wiser and tells me he now has a better appreciation for the ag industry as a whole. But arguably, the biggest change in Tom's life happened last summer at the start of wheat harvest. While working with his dad, Tom fell off a ladder and broke his back when a grain auger fell directly on top of him. Understandably, when we discussed the accident and how it could have been so much worse, Tom got emotional.
I get upset about it because the last thing I saw when it fell on me was my daddy running. And so that bothers me, that it could have been him.
It was very scary because when I went out, I did not know what I was going to see, just in a panic. But we are very, very fortunate that worse did not happen to him, and we're just so blessed that he's still with us. That could have been a fatal accident.
My dad stepped up and helped with wheat straw, and some little girls, they were out there helping him. He's 75 years old at the time, out there trying to get up wheat straw in the summer heat, and My little girls, they were out there trying to help him. And my youngest one, all she could do was drag the bale. But, you know, that got me to thinking that if I want to get them involved in ag, it needs to be something that they would be interested in, that they would enjoy doing.
And so Tom's new journey of Strickland's Farm Fresh Flowers was off and growing. At just over 100 acres, the farm features approximately 80 varieties of flowers in many shapes, colors, and types, all with one motto in mind: choosing your favorite flowers and making memories with your family and friends.
It is a lot of hard work, and we've been out here a lot of nights, weekends, for months. But it is very nice to see it come to fruition, to see, you know, things start blooming, and every day is like a new gift. I mean, it's something else opening up and smiling at you, and that's the rewarding part of it.
All those years working cattle, slinging hay, doing all that stuff, and now you find yourself working flowers. What kind of adjustment was that?
It took a little bit of adjustment. People was like, "You're growing flowers?" I'm like, "Hey, you know, it's farming too." To compare it to the other type of farming that we do, it's hard. It takes a lot of everything that we've planted out here, we've done by hand. It's hard work. Yeah. I think there's been times I'd rather been out picking up wheat straw or doing something with the cows than out here with the flowers, but it pays off. My girls get to see what hard work will get you. They've been out here for a lot of it, and they're seeing what you can get out of the hard work.
Yeah, he is one lucky man. Incredible family as well, and you can check out their website at stricklandfarmsga.com. Well, the EPA and Army Corps of Engineers have wrapped up a series of 10 roundtables in hopes of gathering stakeholder thoughts on changing the waters of the U.S. rule. Courtney Briggs, American Farm Bureau Senior Director of Government Affairs, says the whole purpose of roundtables was to find regional differences as it pertains to WOTUS. But get this, all those meetings, the discussions, when it's all said and done, they won't even play a factor in the rulemaking process.
There's been some roundtables that have been very well balanced and have brought different perspectives to the table to talk about regional differences, but there certainly have been some that have been very one-sided, and those have been concerning because they have failed to bring to the table mainstream agricultural representatives. But one of the biggest concerns is the agencies have stated that they are not going to use these roundtables as part of the regulatory process, and it really begs the question, what is the point of these roundtables? We expect that the agencies will release a finalized rule at some point this calendar year, but all attention is now turning to the Supreme Court. They have announced that they will hear oral arguments in Sackett versus the EPA on October 3rd. So that will be the first case that they will hear next session, and that case has the potential to provide a lot of clarity and certainty for the regulated community.
After the break, how Georgia watermelons get from the farm to your table and some things you may not have known about them.
Watermelon. There's nothing like that sweet, refreshing taste to cool the summer heat. Let's find out how Georgia watermelon gets from the farm to your table. Did you know that watermelon is actually a fruit and a vegetable? It belongs to the same family of plants that include cucumbers and pumpkins. Like other melons, it grows on a vine. Farmers plant watermelon seeds or tiny plants from the nursery in rows of 8 to 12 feet apart to give them plenty of room. In just 1 month, the vine can spread 6 to 8 feet along the ground. Honeybees must pollinate the yellow watermelon blossoms before the vine can produce fruit. Within 60 days, the vine produces its first watermelons, but it can take a full 3 months before they are fully grown. A pale green or yellow belly spot will appear on the underside of the melon. When the leaves on the stem dry out and wilt, it's time to harvest! Watermelon is still picked by hand. Workers carefully put the melons into trucks and transport them to a packing house. Here the melons are washed and cleaned before they are sent to market. Choosing the perfect watermelon is a simple 3-step process. First, look at the melon to check for cuts and bruises. Next, lift the melon to see if it feels heavy, because watermelon is 92% water. Finally, turn the melon over to find that creamy yellow spot that indicates full ripeness. Watermelon provides a good source of vitamin A and potassium. It's low in calories and fat, and even protects your skin from the harmful effects of the sun. Look for Georgia-grown watermelons in a grocery store or produce stand near you this summer.
Starting any new business begins with a big idea and a leap of faith, and that's especially true in agriculture where so many unpredictable factors can determine the success of your operation. But as Damon Jones reports, for the young couple who owns Levity Farms in Morgan County, those risks, that leap of faith, were things they were willing to do in order to follow their hearts and dreams.
It was the road less traveled that was chosen by Zach and Alana Richards, first-generation farmers with urban backgrounds who wanted to make a difference in the community by making fresh, locally grown produce more accessible in food deserts.
When we told our families that we wanted to become farmers, they were shocked. They didn't understand why we would ever want to do that. But we saw a need, and I grew up in North Metro suburbs with my wife, and we spent about 15 years in Atlanta, and we saw the need for fresh food for not only people, but for restaurants.
And that set into motion the beginning of Levity Farms, a small family operation that has grown from very humble beginnings.
We broke ground on our own operation on rented land in 2016 and launched the business there at the beginning of 2017. And in February of 2020, we found this location. About 10 seconds before everything shut down, we signed the initial documents saying we wanted to start the process. And since we were mostly selling to chefs and all of our restaurants closed for a couple weeks, we thought, well, what a great opportunity to pack everything up and move the farm.
With limited practical experience to fall back on, starting up this farm was a unique undertaking that required plenty of hard work and patience, especially with family being the top priority.
The greatest challenge has been us learning from what we've read and experienced and piecing together an operation that works best for our family. We didn't start farming as a business and then say, oh, we're going to have a family now. How can we work the family around the business? We started knowing that we wanted to have a family. I started the farm knowing I wanted to be a mother and raise children on the farm, and we built the business and the operation around that aspiration.
Building relationships has been equally as important as the food they produce, as the Levity Farms is hopeful they will be the go-to source within the community.
We look at culture and we see everyone has their family grocery store, the dentist, their barbershop, and we'd like to see in the future families and people having their family farms that they work with and who grow their food for them.
And that's the reason they would like to remain small, as it allows them to be hands-on in every step of the process.
We're able to keep eyes on the crop very closely, get our hands in the crops, and if something is going wrong, we're able to crop it out very fast. We do have plans to grow as we grow our business and grow our family, but we don't want to grow too fast because we want to make sure that we are keeping that quality at the very top.
Reporting from Morgan County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, for Trevor Crosby, the logging business is something that's been instilled in him since birth, so much so that 8 years ago, when he was just 20 years old, he decided to start his own logging operation. It was a leap of faith that's proven to be a rewarding one, as Crosby is already making a name for himself in just a short amount of time. Our John Holcomb has the story.
Down in Eccles County, This timber business, Eccles Timber Harvesting, is busy at work harvesting and loading trees that will be headed to the mill. It's a tough job with early mornings and long days, but with hard work, this family operation has made quite the name for themselves.
This is a family-based operation that we started in, had the opportunity to start in March of 2014. Very small operation. Started out with just 3 people, me, my dad, and one other guy. Didn't really know where it was going, and put in some work, and a few years later we began to grow. We began to acquire some trucks and some more equipment and more people, and before you knew it, we woke up one day and we was a pretty decently sized operation all of a sudden.
Since their start 8 years ago, they primarily work to harvest planted pines and pulpwood in Eccles County and surrounding areas.
Generally, it's more like crop trees, so to speak. It's these 16, 17-year-old stands of wood that they're ready to turn out and clear cut so they can hurry up and plant more trees, and that's what we get into a lot. We sort our pulpwood, which is your diseased trees, your fork trees, basically your trash. Then we sort out our logs. Chip and saw logs is your smaller end that they cut 2x4s out of, 4x4s, 1x4s, your smaller end stuff.
And just like any other sector of ag, they have quite their fair share of challenges. Crosby says the biggest is high input and machine cost coupled with stagnant prices.
All this stuff has went up, and yet the probably the most challenging part is you don't get paid no more for it. If they could just pay just a little bit more per ton to the logger, it wouldn't even really be a raise. And what I mean by that is it not being a raise, everything else is raised so high, all we'd be doing is playing catch up. When you're trying to buy a piece of equipment for over $300,000 now, that same piece of equipment 10 years ago was $230,000.
Despite the challenges they face, though, they love what they do. And being a family business that looks after one another, one thing's for sure. Things may get tough, but failure isn't an option.
If we don't put in the hard work and put in the extra hours, there ain't nobody else gonna hand you no money at the end of the week. So it's up to us, it's up to these guys. They make it all happen. I'm stressed at times with having just to kind of orchestrate everything, keep the bills flowing, keep everything going. They're the ones out here that's making it all possible. And we all are. Each one of us has a major part in what we do. Major roles here is played by all these people out here, and it's an overwhelming feeling to know when you stop long enough to realize that you mainly got all but maybe 3 people out here that's your family out of 10 people or so. So it's a great feeling.
Reporting in Statenville for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Up next, connecting with Georgia cotton producer Garrett Hurley and why his family's operation is somewhat of a rarity in Chattooga County. Stay tuned. Finally this week, from our good friends at the Georgia Cotton Commission, comes the story of Chattooga County producer Garrett Hurley. As part of the Commission's Cotton Connection series, Garrett discusses the uniqueness of farming in Northwest Georgia and the obstacles he and his family must overcome to have a successful harvest.
My name's Garrett Hurley. My family's been growing cotton for as long as cotton's been grown in Northwest Georgia. We're here in Chattooga County, south end part of the county. I farm with my dad. I actually graduated high school and started farming, and I kind of stepped into kind of a management position when my uncle was starting to get a little age on him. This would be my 5th year, kind of full-on management, and this will be our 1st year, kind of full-on ownership of the operation. Here in Northwest Georgia, kind of here in Chattooga County, we're kind of a minority when it comes to cotton. For years, it was just us and one other farm here in Chattooga County that had cotton on their farm. We farm patches. If we get a 20-acre field, we think we're doing something up here. And in some ways that's good, in some ways that's bad. In good ways, we have less competition, not as many people farming, trying to get land. And on the flip side of that, we can't get near as much done in a day's time as what some would. Our main honey hole is cotton, but we also come up with, we grow some beans, soybeans. We market those over into Alabama for oil press meal. Then we have a cow-calf operation. As far as values go with agriculture tied to Chattooga County, it is like much of Georgia. There are a lot of people that have ties to agriculture, whether it be a grandparent or a great-grandparent or even a parent. There's not a ton of full-time farmers in Chattooga County, but there are way more people here in rural Chattooga County that have ties to agriculture than not. Yes, this farm, as far as agronomic issues, the biggest thing we have trouble with is varying dirt type. We'll run into some heavy dirt along some wet spots and that type of stuff, and then on some of the higher ground it'll turn into some red clay, and you'll be working down here and you might get a half-inch rain over the night, and by lunchtime it's dust is blowing and you can never tell that it's even rained. There's about 175 acres of cotton on this place. We'll plant a few acres of beans on it, making it around 225 acres on this place, and it's non-existent in Chattooga County to find that much land in one spot. So we planted this right out of, I guess it'd be 6 days ago, this field behind me. Everything was looking good. We were expecting to get a 100% chance of rain the day after we planted it. A nice half-inch rain, good enough to get it up out of the ground. We ended up missing all those rain chances. Wind blew gusting up 50 miles an hour pretty much all afternoon. We're looking at right now, we've got some seeds that are still hard, some that are already rotten, and some that have got inch-long sprouts on them, kind of on the lower side down there. We're looking at, we're probably going to be replanting this as soon as we get a rain chance in the forecast, which is not looking overly promising right now. Farming is everything to me. There's days when it does get tough and I want to hang my hat up, but there's other days whenever in the fall, especially whenever you're taking a crop out and you're seeing your year's work come together and see what it's going to be made of. It is really just a humbling experience, and there's really nothing that you can get closer to God and to the land other than farming. And we're solely living off of His grace of what we can come forth out of rainfall or weather or whatever it might be. I'm really looking forward to this being my first year as far as having all my eggs in one basket here, to see what's going to come October, November this year, and whenever we're pulling out a crop. We're hoping for that big yield.
Big thanks to the Georgia Cotton Commission for that. Before we go, a friendly reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, recipes, and what's happening on Georgia farms, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Stay safe and have a great week.